Nations. IPCC is a section responsible for managing knowledge and data about the climate we're damaging and the earth we'd be ravaging. It was established in 1988 when 95 members changing our fate. The change is something they need to negate. They gotta start pushing the date.
The most recent report said that greenhouse gases in the last decade raised need for sunglasses. Forest fires gonna turn us to ashes, everything frozen in rapid flashes. We will increase 1.5 degrees Celsius, making everyone's safety precarious. Natural disasters becoming various, all of which can be seen as nefarious.
However, it is possible to reach our goal if we get climate change in control. IPCC gonna help us with the toll by helping us stop emissions as a whole.
But the main way we have to stop climate change is by everyone doing something in their range, like keeping your carbon contained and the environment sustained.
So, how are we gonna stop climate change anyway? Like, what can I do?
Okay, so we can reduce our carbon footprint, raise awareness, or make good environmental decisions. If we don't do these, then everyone and everything will feel an effect somehow.
Well, who's being affected most by climate change anyway?
The poorer countries are feeling it most because they're not adequately equipped with the tools to fight climate change. In the last 10 years, greenhouse gases have been higher than ever and nobody's doing anything to stop it. Check out an example. How about we look at Australia?
Australia's culture is a mix of Western, British, and American, with native Aboriginals, just to put it in comparison. Indigenous were there, but they were pushed up by the foreign, with colonists taking resources to trade and extortion. European colonization began in Botany Bay. Australian culture revolves around the oceans and sun rays. Most of the population lives on coasts with hot days. They're very relaxed and don't worry in any way. Politically, Australia has a liberal democratic. It has been that way since 1901. It's really not dramatic. Australia is the 6th oldest democracy they've always had. It operates as a two-party system. Voters get fanatic. 3 branches of politics, none are subordinate. The legislative branch goes straight to the parliament. The House of Representatives, the Senate, they're fortunate. The executive branch is the government departments. Last of the judicial branch is made up of 2 courts, the High Court of Australia and some federal sorts.
In Australia, most people are employed, working jobs that fall under the service sector they enjoy. Some are planning hospitality jobs that aren't devoid, low-paying jobs people can usually avoid. Average Australian has an income that is somewhere between $60,000 to $90,000, giving them some flair. Looking at Australia's economy, we find where it is strongly fortified by their trading care. Trade accounts for 45% of their GDP, much of that being involved with the foreign business scene. In Australia, housing costs have risen recently. More Australians are being left with less money. Australia is identified as a core country. This means that they can do their own funding. The main workforce in Australia is involved in the service sector, meaning that effort is dissolved. Because their economy is not highly dependent upon industrial things, because their trade is not independent, this economic power allows them to be more splendid, and they continue to thrive at being independent.
Hold on. How does Australia have anything to do with climate change?
I got you. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Climate change has affected Australia in many different ways, that's what I'm telling you. One way that Australia's affected is higher temperatures interconnected. The town of Anza was the warmest detected, 123 degrees wasn't projected. These high temperatures, extreme drought and dryness occurs. Leads to extreme fire season, economy gets destroyed and weakens.
progress in. The national skill none gets shaven.
Now let's move on to Ethiopia.
There are up to 80 different ethnic groups, unique cultural traits that are matching their troops. Tribes of Ethiopia are put in 83 groups, along with 200 languages. There ain't any loops. Ethiopia's Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. They have Ethiopian Orthodox churches for humanity. On the Christian holidays, tourists will travel the seas to celebrate and join in colorful ceremonies. The music and dance scene is very diverse because of all the various tribes that are dispersed. Usually their music is high-pitched and played by traditional instruments. Lastly, their climate differs greatly. Equatorial rainforest with high rainfall that's daily to the dry desert-like conditions in the east lately. Recently, the climate has been acting unstably.
Ethiopia's economy mainly relies on manual resource extraction and fertile land size. Their income comes from exports of cash crop ties, mostly coffee and coffee products likewise. They also have a big livestock and fishing industry that helps their exports and improves their economy. Their agriculture makes up half their GDP. Also, a big amount of their economy comes from mining. Their infrastructure is still not fully developed, but it grows from tourism, transport, banking to escape a rut. For 20 years, the Derg regime ruled Ethiopia on an all-out scheme. They nationalized production means from housing to farming all in between.
Even after the regime made most land, today's nationalized planet conflicts over land ownership. If tennis stop and agribusiness may be intended. Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries developing cause it's a tourist country, losing all of its forests and country. It's one of the most malnourished countries.
Wait, remind me again, what level of the world system theory is Ethiopia in?
When we look at Ethiopia, we can put it in the category as a periphery country because other countries use them to extract raw materials and they do that themselves too. Because of this, they destroy the lands, which ruins urbanization and does not really allow developing. And then also with this, because there's lots of conflict. Recently there was a war and they're still kind of trying to get back from that, so the government is not very strong. And you could say that they're not a very sovereign, independent country.
One of the world's largest coffee producers that lost 9/10 of forestry. The United Nations Environment Program, aka the UNEP. Ethiopia is an endangered country. Climate change makes a lack for trees, causes CO2 for you and me, and the end causing a temp increase.
Rainfall is becoming unstable. Heat waves making farming enabled. Floods making conditions fatal. Landslides taking food off the table. Climate consequences killing the young. The balance is already swung. CO2 smoke is filling your lungs. Destruction has already come.
Ethiopia, their goal is to stop the influence. Effects of climate change are remaining continuous. They aim to overhaul the rural economy, support agriculture, you see. Reconstruct millions of hectares of forestry, making it carbon free. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed started their pushback on climate change spread. Made the Green Legacy Initiative thread, focus on planting trees instead. Ethiopia is known as the African nation, taking a lead on our climate situation.
Alright, but what's something everybody in the world could do? Like something that anybody could just do to help stop climate change?
Here, let me explain.
Something that everyone can do on their own is eliminate the food waste they made all alone. Buy and throw away less that is grown by making sure you eat all that is shown. Look at Esther Bosserup's theory, increased pop equals increased food. Food waste will make us all weary, all of which this is not good. Russell's theory of population growth, population and food growth near both. All you need is just one loaf, but still too much food is stuff that we loathe. Rothfusian theory of population growth, population food grow linear both. All you need is just one loaf, but still too much food is what we loathe.
Leftovers don't go in the trash. Cutting down waste means doing your task. Young glass makes us cupping up the flask. This is the truth we're gonna unmask. Less trucking and flying in trains, so less waste of food to landfill gains. Landfills generate loads of methane, which can cause bad conditions and pain.